Hello and a very warm welcome to the Economic Times GCC Search 2025. I'm Apoorva Shukla, your host for the session called Coffee Break Chat. And right now in this session, we are going to discuss about building resilient and secure semiconductor supply chains through GCCs. And to lead this interaction, I have with me Mr. Navin Bishnoi from Marvell. Please welcome him and let's start the interaction. So Navin, welcome to the Coffee Break Chat of ETGCC Search 2025. I would like to start the interaction by asking you a question in terms of GCC role in semiconductor supply chain. So I want to know what unique role can GCC play in balancing innovation cost for the semiconductor industry?
Sure, pleasure to be here. I represent Marvell Semiconductors, which is a fabless design house. If you look at the semiconductor supply chain, primarily we can divide it into design and manufacturing, and each one of them has a separate small substeps and pieces inside it. Design ecosystem exists for many decades. Manufacturing is what's coming up, which is primarily coming in because of this whole supply chain issues that we saw over the last few years, originated from COVID, moved into the geopolitical issues that we started seeing, and then the huge opportunity for India to reduce the import and then start doing the semiconductor development from here. Companies like Marvell have been around here to use the global talent that exists to build the products for the global markets, and then slowly have started looking at positioning those products in the India market as well. So all the digital growth that we see in India, whether it's in automotive, whether it's in data center, whether it's in carrier using 5G and moving into the next generation, and the automation, industrial or home and smart cities, all of this will have huge consumption of semiconductors driven by these global companies, while India build the supply chain to also have the local and Indian companies to supply to that. So both of them combined together is building that whole ecosystem of semiconductor supply, and it will always be global in nature. No one country or one region can do everything on its own. It will always be a global, well-staged supply chain that will leverage to serve the global markets and special markets like India.
So you've talked about GCC's role in semiconductor supply chain. Now I want to move to the resilience side of things. I want to understand with the ongoing geopolitical disruptions, right? How can GCCs help migrate risk in semiconductor design and supply? What is your point of view on that aspect?
Yes, so I think this is truth in front of us, and there are some regions where we are worried about the whole IP protection. Right. Semiconductor in general is very heavy on IP. That's what is the building block, and that's what build the business and the dollar and the revenue for us. And that's why most of companies like us have been very conscious in deciding a region for its R&D is built on so-called as multiple factors. Talent is definitely one, the cost being the other, ease of doing business, but being the right governance, being the right friendship with the global ecosystem partners, and ensuring that whether we do the ease of business, whether we import and export products and technologies, all of that works seamlessly. And that's where India works very well, whereas some of the other countries it's not, where the IP is restricted, some kind of work cannot be sent to those regions on those countries, and in India benefits significantly from that to have that platform of all the tick marks for those criterias, and then being part of the favorable R&D destination. And that's where most of companies have invested in India by reducing their risk from those situations. Now, will India get into some of these situations? Probably not. I know we see some kind of news and the chatter around that, but in general, the platform has been very solid for the technology part of it, the IP part of it, supported by the talent pool, the ease of business, and the scale that we have done. And it's going to continue to be built to be able to serve to India and then create many for.
So Naveen, you have amazingly given insights about geopolitical disruptions. Now I want to move to the future outlook of things. So I want to ask you, looking ahead, what role will India-based GCCs play in shaping the next decade of semiconductor innovation and resilience?
Yes, so next decade of semiconductor innovation is moving very fast. The reason I say is that when we talk about these data, the technologies like mobile, internet, how long it took to penetrate into, let's say, a million users or a billion users, and in all of that, AI has changed all of that. It has done that in a much shorter time compared to any previous technologies. What this means is that the number of products that we need to do to create these digital infrastructure and the innovation required at the speed that we need to do to meet the cost, to meet the power and performance, to meet the time that it is there, is pushing a lot of what we say concurrent innovation in the semiconductor supply chain. And India has been the biggest contributor to this. Most of my colleagues in worldwide, if you see in the semiconductor, a large part you will see from an Indian origin, because our electrical and electronics or computer science from our premium IITs to NITs and many other college was the foundation for many of these, successful IP products, technologies, and the CXOs that we see it around, right? Convert that also into the ecosystem that's coming in, that India was always about competency, that we came here to have the large talent pool, utilize the competency. It's slowly moving towards saying India is a consumer. Billions of us are very eager and first to use the technology the moment it's given in our hands. This is slowly moving to the third C. What we say is that we are slowly starting becoming the creator of these technologies and products from here, right? And that's what is driving the future decade for these GCCs. They are creating these IP products and technology for the global world, many of them mapped to the India use cases, and driving the accelerating pace of this whole digital infrastructure growth.
You have amazingly put how India has the best talent and capability, mindset to build GCCs. Navin, to move the next round of discussion in this particular coffee break chat, I would like to take few questions as a part of rapid fire session. So you have to be a little prompt and quick with your responses. So I would like to ask you, what's that one word that describes your leadership style?
My leadership style, inclusion.
Inclusion. Build or buy, what is your first instinctive choice?
Build.
Build. Any reason for that?
Coming from an engineering background, you want to solve the toughest problem.
Right.
But always in a business case, you make a very conscious, balanced case of build versus buy. But as an engineer, want to build things.
Right.
Right.
What is the most exciting tech trend you are observing right now?
Lot of people, so I'll say networking. People talk about compute in an AI world, how many GPUs or how many XPUs that we need. All of these need to be connected and need to move very fast across kilometers and in data centers. Networking is very key, and that's where I am spending a lot of time on.
Now I'm going to ask you a very traditional question. A lot of people might have asked you, remote work or back to office, what works better for engineers? What do you think?
We are back to work 5 days, so I am a big believer of that. Our problem solving involves hundreds of people across lot of whiteboard, many complex equations, simulations, optimizations, and we are a strong believer of back to work.
Any book or podcast you feel every engineer leader should check, or somebody who wants to become an engineer leader should, read those podcasts, watch those podcasts, or read a particular book? Is there anything that comes to your mind?
I usually recommend Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I'm reading now a CEO Mindset by Shiva Kumar. Those are two I would recommend.
One thing that instantly impresses you in an engineering candidate?
Uh, Showing up their hands so that they have a voice, they ask questions, and then they want to change the things.
If not engineering, what would you be doing today?
A chef,
A chef?
yes.
Any professional, learning from your entire career trajectory that you would like to share with the audience out there?
Yeah, I would say that, especially since I play a leadership role, there's one learning that I had called leadership is not a popularity contest. A lot of time we try to be nice like either to employees or to our bosses or headquarters and all of that. But leadership is all about tough decisions, being able to evaluate the business context, be able to relate it with the finance acumen, and then make decisions if this is the right thing to do, or many times not do.
Thank you so much for your time, Naveen. So this was my time with Naveen. Stay tuned for more coffee break chats on ETGCC right here happening in Kochi. Thank you.